Now at 6, a deadly shooting in an Indianapolis neighborhood. The new details police are sharing and what we're learning about homicide trends this year.
And a warmer wind blowing through today. That will change a little bit for tomorrow, and how close we'll be to a record high on Christmas Day.
Plus, federal funding cuts affecting foster care. How much money an Indianapolis group needs now to keep helping kids. Live from Indy, you're watching 13 News. Tonight, we're getting some new details about a deadly shooting on the city's northwest side. Metro Police say it happened just after 2 o'clock this morning in a neighborhood on Bond Drive near 38th and Guyan Road. This is a look at the scene. We now know it was a man who officers found shot and killed here. We're still working to learn what led up to the gunfire. Of course, we'll share that once we find out. And just this week, we got some new stats from IMPD about clearing homicides in Indianapolis. This year, Metro Police say their Criminal Investigations Division cleared more than 47% of criminal homicides. They also received nearly 7,000 tips through Crime Stoppers, resulting in 150 arrests and $30,000 in rewards. A car crash involving a stolen car killed a 13-year-old today and injured 4 other teenagers. This happened in Wayne County around 2:30 a.m. near the Indiana-Ohio border. Police say the car missed a curve in the road and crashed into some trees. A 13-year-old passenger died. A 17-year-old and 18-year-old were flown to a hospital in Dayton, Ohio, and another 17-year-old was treated in Richmond. The 17-year-old driver had minor injuries. Police say the car was reported stolen on December 18th. This weekend marks 1 year since a man was hit and killed by a train on Indy's east side after going around the railroad crossing gates. His loved ones are now remembering him by returning to the scene where that tragedy happened. The train dragged the car 75 feet before it stopped. The driver, 51-year-old Columbus Jackson, died at the scene. The victim's wife, Michael, hadn't been to the scene yet, saying it was just too difficult to go back there. She went back today for the very first time, sharing a message that it's not worth trying to beat a train since you can lose a loved one like she did.
Just be patient and just remember you have a loved one is waiting on you to come home and looking for you to come home. And nobody wants to get that phone call or knock on their door saying that your loved one has lost their life due to a tragic accident.
And tonight at 11, we'll hear more from Michael, also hearing from advocates for safety at railroad crossings. A lot of organizations this year have dealt with some federal funding cuts, and now one right here in Indiana is asking the community for help in order to keep providing for kids in foster care. Our Marina Silva is looking at how much money they're now trying to find.
Foster Success is grappling with sudden federal and state funding cuts, forcing the nonprofit to reduce its budget by more than $600,000.
This is going to cut financial support for older foster youth going to college. It's going to shrink the size of our youth-led conference that we host each year, and just reduce program engagement as a whole, the ways and the numbers of ways that we can connect with young people.
The organization serves teens and young adults aging out of foster care, helping them find housing, education, employment, and support.
I think the place that we'll see the largest numbers of young people impacted is connected to some of our youth engagement work and the ways that we help build peer support, networking, connectivity, and leadership development for our young people shows up through some different training we do.
Despite the uncertainty, Dr. Maggie Stevens says Foster Success isn't walking away from the young people who rely on them.
Lots of moving pieces, having conversations, talking to our team, really leaning on our program staff to think about where can we make some of these cuts with the least impact on young people.
Now she's hoping the community can help close the gap and remind those in the program they're not alone.
We're making it work, but we know we're not going to be able to do that forever on our own.
And it's support they say these young people need. In Indianapolis, Marina Silva, 13 News.
It is 6:04. Let's give you a live look at downtown Indianapolis. Really beautiful shot of downtown tonight and relatively beautiful weather, Sean, considering we just came from some bitter cold. What a relief.
Yeah, we had another weather whiplash, and that's really been the theme here the last several days. Yesterday morning, Wind chills were 5 below to 5 above. We had the snow showers into the middle part of the day. Today, up to near 50 degrees, close to it in many locations and above it. In some, 56 in fact in Bedford, 50 in Terre Haute, 50 here in Indy. And even those 40s up north, contrasted by those wind chills we had, it made it feel some 60 degrees warmer in some locations. Radar showing some returns. Those not going to reach the ground here. What a beautiful shot. Carmel's Chris Kindelmart there you see this evening. It is jam-packed. Lovely evening in my opinion. Now, by the time we get into tomorrow morning, if you're out the door early, heading to church, running some errands, doing some Christmas shopping, wind chills start to drop off into the teens and we get the lows back into the 20s. It's a one-day speed bump tomorrow and then we're warming up. Details in the 7-day forecast.
All right, see you in a few minutes, Sean. Thanks so much. The Colts are in prime time this week. They face the San Francisco 49ers on Monday Night Football. And this is practically a must-win game if the Colts really want to get in the playoffs. At practice today, we learned Sauce Gardner is ruled out for Monday night, but the team is getting back defensive tackle DeForest Buckner. Coach Steichen says they're looking forward to seeing him back on the field, certainly. The Colts do have a shot at the playoffs, but the odds are slim. The last couple of losses have come down to just a few points. So Coach Steichen says they're focusing on making plays when it matters.
Yeah, I think it's in this league. It comes down to those close games, especially. It's 2 or 3 plays. It's just finding those extra 2 or 3 plays a game more than your opponent and finishing at the end. And obviously that stuff's talked about. You work, situations where it's got to have situations in practice to put those guys in position to when those things come up, they've repped it on the practice field and you go from there.
Kickoff Monday night at 8:15 at Lucas Oil Stadium. We have you covered before and after the game right here on Channel 13. Hey, check this out. The Colts are putting in the work on and off the field. Today was their annual Bleed Blue Blood Drive. This is in partnership with Versity Blood Center of Indiana, and organizers say that partnership has made all the difference over 25 years now.
We are so honored and just privileged and humbled to have the Colts as our partners. They've been amazing partners for over 25 years. We pushed it out and we had about 300 or 400 signed up. When the Colts pushed it out, we got all of this. So now we're up to almost 700 appointments because of the great partnership we have with them. They've been amazing. We got people moving cars to make room for other people. We got lines wrapped around.
Organizers also tell us they see a big lull in blood donations this time of year, which is why the need is so great. Still ahead tonight, year-end travel could set records again when the busiest times could be as people head home for the holidays. Sean?
Well, we're going to chill it down for tomorrow, but we've got some 60s in the 7-day forecast. Stay with us for that.
Plus, the U.S. ramping up operations again near Venezuela. The details we're learning tonight about the seizure of a boat. Next. Developing tonight, the U.S. military is conducting another operation off the coast of Venezuela. Two officials confirming to NBC News they seized a vessel in international waters. Now, this is video from earlier this month of a previous mission, the military taking control of this sanctioned oil tanker. Today, officials say Coast Guard personnel are taking control of a second sanctioned vessel. It's part of the Trump administration's efforts to enforce restrictions on Venezuela's energy exports. Well, now to the Middle East, where the U.S. military launched strikes on Syria. This is video of choppers and jets taking off last night. On social media, President Trump said the strikes targeted ISIS infrastructure and weapons sites. He says it's in retaliation to last week's attack in Syria that killed 3 Americans. We also have some new video of the strikes themselves. Now, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth claims the U.S. killed many enemies in those strikes. The military says additional strikes are expected to last several weeks. Sean?
All right, this front you see on the map cools us down for Sunday, but we've got temperatures warming. We will flirt with a record high on Christmas Day. How close will come in your forecast.
The winter solstice this year starts on December 21st at 10:03 in the morning. And we would typically think, well, from here on out, we're going to see more daylight. And that's true-ish. That doesn't necessarily mean our sun will immediately start to rise earlier. So let me explain. So typically, we would see the day with the least amount of daylight on the winter solstice, with it being 9 hours and 21 minutes. From there, yes, we will start to gain daylight, but it's all going to happen on the tail end of the day, as the sunset will jump from 5:24 to 5:40 by January 11th. Now, I picked January 11th because that's the day we see the latest sunrise. So our sun's not going to come up any earlier for another couple weeks. And then after January 11th, the sun will start to rise a little bit earlier, and that trend will continue all the way through the summer solstice coming up this June.